this regular meeting of the Hicksville Exempted Village Board of Education to order. Roll call, please.
Carrier. Here. Iden.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Mosser.
Here.
And Wonderly.
Here.
All present.
Welcome, visitors. We're glad to have you. We're thankful for you and appreciate everybody's involvement in our school and our community. Thank you. All right, let's stand and say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Eric, you're first.
Well,
Director of
a lot
Operations.
on the agenda. We have bleacher inspections were completed a couple weeks ago for both gyms. Still waiting on the reports from the company. Normally over Christmas break we have a lot of our fire alarm panels, kitchen hood and stuff inspected. They're unable to do it over Christmas break this year, so they'll be in here on second shift hours on January 8th and 9th to complete all that. And otherwise just busy around the building. The building's a little busy right now, so all I got.
All right, thank you. Principal reports. Kirsten, let's go with you first today.
Okay. On Friday, November 30th, we had Principal's Math Club dance party. We had 21 little kiddos up there celebrating. Just a great time because it does bring in a lot of parents and grandparents to come in for lunchtime. And the power of a positive phone call is doing really, really well. It is fun to call those parents and then hand that little phone over to that kiddo to let them tell their mom and dad that they're being a rock star, caught being a rock star that week. So it's been going well. Today, third grade air test scores were released. We did quite well. Students needed to receive either a promotion score of 677 or higher or a 45 on the reading subscore to meet the criteria for the third grade reading guarantee, and we had 81% of our students pass. Yes, which is nice. And the 19%, which ended up being 12 students that did not meet the criteria, 2 of them were move-ins, 3 of them are ELL students. All of our IEP kiddos passed. So the 12 students that were identified as not meeting the criteria will now go into very intense intervention, and then we'll probably focus on the 17 students that were identified as basic to try to get them to proficient. So, but they did a great job. So for the last 3 years, we've had very, very large kindergarten classes, and it's never really proposed a problem or a concern because we've always had maybe 3 sections rather than 4 sections in grades 1 through 2. But this year, that has moved up. So we only have 3 sections in our 3rd and 4th grade. And so with the high numbers, it's kind of caught up with us. So this year, we actually have a 1st grade classroom up in the 3rd grade wing, which does kind of pose some concerns with, those students sharing a bathroom with, older students. And so I just kind of wanted to put it out there on the radar because next year, the 3 sections of 3rd grade will be transitioning into 4 sections. So we just keep growing and growing. We don't know, if we have a smaller kindergarten class, that could change things, but for the last 3 years, we have not. We have had, I think we have 103 students adding with readiness and all of that, but our kindergarten classes for some reason have just been huge. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there to be on the radar because we move around classrooms every year, but we had to put this 1st grade classroom up there because it was the only classroom left that had the cubbies and the coat racks and things available for the students. So
on your go ahead.
Go.
Out of the kids that are ELL in the 3rd grade, are they speaking proficient English and they're just having the reading issues, or some of them?
Well, one of our
not
3rd grade ELL students just came from Guatemala last January, and so if you've seen a computer or spoke any type of English, and it's not even Spanish, it's it's Mayan
Different
that
dialect,
she speaks.
okay.
Oh, yeah. She's doing amazing, but we have totally like reconstructed a curriculum for her. She actually did better than some of our other students on the test. But the other two are more proficient than what she is, but
And how many ELL kids do we have now?
about 21.
And how many did we have 4 years ago?
Probably 1 or 2.
Okay.
It's growing.
We have some on the middle school, high school side now too, and they're showing up from Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Mexico. They're just, and they're not even coming in with their parents. Keep that in mind. There's a lot of struggles with the idea of collecting information, gathering documents, getting signed off, and you know, because there's good Samaritans in our community, thank God, that are assisting in this, but it's been interesting.
Or even the students showing up to school. Andy had to pick up my first grader and his 5th grader today, and this is probably the 4th or 5th time. And so we're contacting translators to let them know the information.
Okay, I know that you're hiring a substitute teacher.
On Tuesdays, we do have a teacher that comes in and works. We have her scheduled out all day long. She starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and goes until 3. And some of our more intense ones, like the ones from Guatemala and Puerto Rico, she meets twice with that day. Like she has a morning session with them and an afternoon session. And she's, using some of my principal money for her to get some like computer programs to help, some brain pop on ELL and things like that. But she really does a nice job. Like she's tried to get worksheets and things for them that are like their needs. Like she's really taken time to learn.
So how are you meeting that 5 through 12?
Well, luckily, we're able to communicate fairly effectively with volunteers, translators. We have a handful of students in our high school that we have been very creative in scheduling and placing these students into classes with them. That way that they have a translator in every class with them. And if there's not a translator in there, we're using Khan Academy, which is a program we're purchasing to assist in teaching them some of the core classes. And it's actually provided in, again, Spanish and English. So again, we're just being creative. We've contacted the Northwest Ohio ESC. They really have nothing to help us with. I think they have one ELL teacher for the 4 county area, and they're already busy. And we're just, Hicksville's having an influx of.
Do you see that in other schools? I mean, are other schools in the 4 county area having as much influx as we are?
Not as much as we are.
At our last principals meeting, that was our topic that we brought, and nobody else had really had major concern.
What's changed for us versus them? Industry?
Yeah.
No, it's the industry.
Okay, what about Paulding County? Because I know they have are they
No,
having some?
they were not at the 4 county, they don't come to the 4
Right,
county.
I know,
They
that's
do
why I'm
have- I
wondering
do
if
know
you've
they
heard
have some.
anything.
My kids go to Paulding, but I know that they do have some migrant kids there.
And these aren't even migrant because they're staying.
Well, and I should probably rephrase. I know that Paulding has the cattle farms over there, I think, are utilizing.
Unfortunately, the ones that we're getting here lately are working in the Paulding area, but I think what they're doing is they're finding out that we have
We have the
cheap
housing.
housing is cheaper here, so they're actually housing them. Whoever is hiring them is purchasing places for them in El Grande, and then they're busing them back and forth.
In the middle school wise, Jessica Saunders, one of our middle school teachers, is going back to school for her ELL license. She should be done with that at the end of this school year. So we place our students in her homeroom to kind of work with those students a lot.
Prior, she was an ELO teacher.
And then, was that?
She was an ELO
Yeah,
teacher.
previously was an ELL teacher. And then, ideally, if we change the middle school schedule, so one thing I want to kind of just touch on, we give her the opportunity to work with those kids throughout her day as well. So that's kind of part of that plan.
And his 5th grade student is actually a part of the rotation with Mrs. Swift that comes in on Tuesdays.
Okay, I want to go back to your 3rd grade grade upstairs. But next year you'll need that for all 4 third grades.
Yes,
You'll still have 1 room empty in the 4th grade wing. You'll still have 3 sections of just 4th grade
oh,
the
yes,
following
yes.
year.
Yes,
Okay.
I was gonna say, we have no rooms available.
Right,
Unless
right,
we.
so that,
Yeah,
but then after that,
yes, we will have no
We're done.
rooms, and, I know right now we're already doubling up on, like, some of our special ed teachers, and all of our title teachers are in 1 room, and so when our title work is being done, like, 1 teacher can be in that classroom, but then the rest of the times they're in cubbies in the hallway,
Which is
so.
what we probably have to do the following year, pull somebody out to work in the hallway, because we'd have to have a classroom.
okay, in the preschool room is already doubled up, right? You already have extra kids in the preschool room.
Yeah, we have currently 22 in the AM class and 22 in the PM class, when technically, or usually you have 13 to 15 kids per section.
Remember, we did a pilot program, so to speak. I mean, you could write a waiver to add, we wanted to do that to see if we could fill it up.
We
And,
filled it.
it's more than full, both sessions, so. We did a waiver with the ESC on that.
But we haven't turned anybody away though, correct?
No.
I mean, we're taking,
We have a lot
Can
of
we
typicals
even-
waiting to
We
get
would-
in,
right.
but
Okay,
you
the
have to have the
typicals,
same
gotcha.
amount of.
okay.
And you
special
can't
needs.
legally turn away an IEP, can you?
Mm.
No.
So if they're an IEP in our district, we could not turn them away.
We can't turn them away, but we might have to do like in-home visits, because, I mean, it is maxed out. I mean, we do have, 4 adults in there, but, I mean, you're looking at 3 to 5-year-olds, and you're looking at, children with walkers, just a variety of needs in there. And so 11 of those students have pretty significant needs.
That's what it has to be now.
You
Is
have
it
to-
even
Yes,
number
yep, has to be-
IEPs versus
yep.
typicals?
Right.
Yeah,
You
so
have
we
to-
do have typicals on a waiting list,
Okay.
but yeah, we have to fill it with
Okay, so I haven't thought of this, but, okay, so you have 22, so you get an IEP, so then you automatically have to go to 24? Or what happens?
yes, from my understanding, yes.
You have to have a typical to make up for the
Wow,
yes.
IEP.
But we have to.
It could grow quickly.
Yes.
Wow, okay. All right.
We were close last year.
Yeah.
We were holding our breath near the end of the year.
And I do know, like, I have, because, I mean, some of these kiddos turn 3 like in February, so they'll come to us in February, and that's when we can start a typical too. So I do know I have 3 or 4 students that we're meeting on in December for like the spring. So I'm not really sure how that all goes.
Wow, okay. All right.
We are growing.
All right. November 20th, we held our middle school spelling bee. Congratulations to our champion, Austin Sanders, and our runner-up, Wyatt Sanders. Both of these students will be moving on to our county competition in Ayersville, taking place in January. We recently met as a BLT, and we started to look at options for creating a middle school schedule, kind of putting everyone on the same schedule throughout their day. Goals with that is, number 1, to find opportunities for our kids, again, whether that's ELL with Mrs. Saunders potentially. We're looking to push our STEAM program into high school, and if the K, 5 and 6 on a different schedule, then the high school, it creates gaps in people's schedules. So the best way to do that, in order to move STEAM to the high school, which is, I think, something that's really important for us to get those hands-on things, we probably need to go to the same schedule throughout. We're looking to figure out exactly where we'll put that STEAM room. Mr. Farrell will teach that class, but how to make that class be able to be used, and then another teacher actually be using his 6th grade class to teach 6th grade science at the same time is something that we are currently working on. I think overall, most of our teachers are on board with that move. I think we'll soon see the benefit and pros to that, and continue working with Mr. Schaefer, Mrs. Chamberlain, Mr. Slattery, kind of put those schedules together for the upcoming school year. Some future events. Tomorrow, our 6th grade camp leaves. Our 6th grade students leave for camp. They'll be gone Tuesday through Friday. up at Camp Nishindo. It's a pretty exciting thing for these kids. A lot of them, it's their first time away from home. It's a real neat camp. Hopefully all of our students have fun, be safe, and make sure that there is no piggy waste. That is very important, as I found out last year. December 14th, Friday, our 6th through 8th grade students will perform a Christmas concert at the Huber, coming out and support our musicians as they perform for the holiday season. Christmas vacation will take place December 24th through January 2nd, so kids don't come to school. Right after the new year, we're looking to do something a little bit different this year. We're gonna have a data dive. Our ESC rep, Mr. Josh Clark, is going to lead us in really breaking down data, not just, yes, we did well on the test, but our strengths, our weaknesses, our individual student strengths and weaknesses, taking a look at alignment, and we're gonna meet by subject or by content area, and then by school. I think it's gonna be, hopefully, some very valuable days for our teachers to kind of have the opportunity to really dive into some of this information, find out what we do well, what do we want to improve on, and how do we continue to make our school a better place. So that's something we're going to be working on right after the start of the new year. And the second quarter comes to a close January 11th, 2019 already. So flying through the school year. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Jeff? Oh, go ahead.
Have you identified any potential problems with the middle school going to the high school schedule besides just the obvious adjustment of change?
Yeah, I mean, change is always different, and that's in itself. The 5th grade would no longer have recess, so we put in place an intramural program at lunch, and we're working out the kinks, but I think overall it's been a positive thing.
It has been really nice.
And again, Mr. Shock's done a great job helping us out with that. He kind of runs the gym, and then we had a couple other teachers who help control the cafeteria, and we switch halfway through. So that's one. A lot of the scheduling conflicts and just time and space, that's a lot of moving parts, you know, and a schedule is, high school schedule in itself is complex.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna throw 3 more grades or 2 additional grades on, that makes things a little bit more complex, and we still share with the elementary. So trying to make sure that all those schedules, everybody's getting their time is not always easy, but I think it can be done, and we're working on it. That's why we started so early, because we didn't do some potential issues.
I got to come to that meeting because that's the committee that I serve on. It was very interesting. Well done. I thought the teachers reacted well with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's
most of them
good.
understand the needs of it and the purpose for it. You know, we'll see how it goes.
I think the major benefit of it, you know, working with Mr. Hunter on it, there are gonna be some challenges. There's gonna be some issues with shared space, but the big thing is, you know, when you talk about scheduling at the high school level and the middle school level, we share so many teachers that each teacher you share between middle school and high school, they get locked into, we call them columns and rows, and every column that gets locked in place, it reduces opportunities for our kids. And so we're trying to reduce the number of shared teachers, number one, but also provide more opportunities and movement for the individual students in their scheduling and the electives that they get to choose. And even at the middle school level, you know, again, there will be some academic challenges, especially when you talk about some of the, I guess, the specials, as we used to call them, getting them figured in. But I think that's a huge opportunity to share with them, talk about the art department and how they meet like 3 times a month.
Yeah, and part of the reason we started looking at this last year was I observed an art class as part of normal observation. I went back to do the next observation. They were doing the same exact project that they'd been doing just about a month earlier. And I said, I don't mean to be rude, but how are they doing the same exact thing a month later? So I want to see these kids 3 times. You know, we had 1 snow day, and I only get them every 3rd day. And I just think consistency-wise, for the kid to build their skills, whether it's in art or whether it's in music or whether it's in PE, it's tough to create that consistency. So part of what we're looking to do is that they would be in a class every single day for a semester. So you get a semester of art, but they're getting it 5 days a week. They're getting to grow on their skills on top of each other. And so I think that's a pro. And then musically, we're looking to kind of divide up the music as well, where the band teacher will focus on percussion. Then he would actually have the woodwinds for one, the high brass for one, the low brass for one, so that he can really focus on specific instruments that music, that those kids are learning at that base level at 5th grade. And then as the kid goes on to band in 6th grade, they can do band every single day consistently. So if you purchase that instrument and you are involved in band, again, you're gonna get that every single day, which I think is a big pro for those kids trying to develop some skills. That's part of I think the pro for that.
Okay, Jeff?
All right, high school report. First off, congratulations to all of our high school students who earned a role in the musical Beauty and the Beast. We had callbacks last week. Parts were assigned, I believe, Friday of last week, and of course, the play takes place in March. On Friday, November 16th, we met with Northwest State. We were discussing something that I've had a conversation with Northwest State and Defiance College, and you know, they have all these opportunities for our kids through dual enrollment credit opportunities. They're not getting the students from Hicksville through College Credit Plus that they thought they would get. And a lot of it deals with, of course, logistics. I mean, just the distance we are from a Northwest State or Defiance College. So they came in and they started talking to us about, you know, what can we offer that you guys can't offer here at Hicksville? And of course, you know, I think about when I was in school as a young man, and some of the electives I took, and you know, we had this discussion about, you know, CAD, industrial arts, electrical, some sort of programming, even welding simulators, things like that. And they're just sitting there just checking off all these boxes saying, hey, we can bring you those opportunities. So we had some really, really insightful conversation about, again, what they could provide, when they could provide it. I think what we get into then is kind of funny because we're kind of fighting with the same space here. Amber Mack's room, which technically was our digital learning lab when the school was first built, which is the first room here next to the LMC. Amber Mack is our math teacher, Algebra 1, and she does some geometry labs. We're talking about turning that into our STEAM room, our STEM room with Mr. Farrell. Well, if we do that, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to work together again because sharing space, sharing schedules, things like that. But I guess Northwest State said, give us space. They go, we will give you dual enrollment classes. I mean, that's kind of the end discussion. So we're kind of going through that conversation still of you know, where our teachers are going to be moved to, what spaces are going to be available. Again, we discussed the doubling up of our SPED teachers. We're looking for opportunities of some empty spaces to utilize. And again, it's in the infancy stages of that, but it was a great conversation. And you know, it's a win-win because you know, Northwest State's looking to grow their programming and their enrollment. We're looking to provide as many opportunities as possible, and it's a double bonus for us because we want to keep our kids on campus. We don't like when the kids leave and they're driving all the time. We'd rather have them here learning. On Thursday, December 6th, the Defiance County Geography Coalition Board met. We have a student board that we have 3 representatives from Hicksville participating into, but I'm also on the board for the adult portion of it. And I just want to share that one, you know, 2 major topics right now that all high schools are dealing with and middle schools. Of course, our vaping. That's like an epidemic. We're doing our best to try to control that. If you're not sure what vaping is or juuling is, it is a device, it's an electronic device that these kids pretty much just like smoking. It has nicotine or other substances in it, and you know the vaping just it dissipates. You know, and kids are doing it in the cafeterias. We've actually caught kids doing it there. Kids are doing it in classrooms. Kids are doing it especially in the bathrooms. But again, you can't detect it like smoke, and it just disappears. And the devices they're using, most teachers aren't even aware of what they look like. And I know I sent an email out, I think it was in September or early October, because I came in to the office one day, and sitting on Mrs. Welling's desk was a vaping USB charger. And I go, Mrs. Welling, I recognized it. And I go, Mrs. Welling, what is that? She goes, oh, somebody lost their USB port. And I go, does anybody claim it? She goes, oh, no one said a word. They just walked off. I was like, oh, I think we need to educate our staff a little bit. So I said, let's take this off. So then I put together a little presentation and emailed it out to the staff, and you would be amazed at how many people on our staff came down and said, I had no idea what a Juul was. I had no idea what those pods were. I've seen that. You know, because kids around the schools, they're just plugging their vaping devices right into their school computers, and they're sitting there in class, and these things are charging, and people had no idea what they were.
I did not
they
know.
They look like USBs.
Yeah.
You know, and it's insane. And then what they do is, and I hate to say it because I know it happens in every district, but I mean, they literally just unplug it, the teacher turns their back and writes on the board, they just go, they plug it back in, and they sit there and they type again, because it disappears and there's no smell or odor at times, depending on what they have. So that's been a major discussion of all schools, all high schools. I told our staff this year that we were going to be the healthiest staff in in the state of Ohio. And I'm thinking about giving an award to the teacher that washes their hands the most in our restrooms. I know I wash my hands about 8 to 10 times daily. I've been extremely healthy so far this year. And you notice the kids, we took away their safe space. Legally, we took away their safe space. So we're trying to do our best to deter them from that. But again, it's a tough battle. And I know that we, as principals and teachers, and even Mr. Bassett, it's almost an impossible war because you cannot detect it. So, interesting enough, that's definitely a major issue in schools, but we're doing our best. The second item is, if you read the paper, and this was a major concern with ours, is that Michigan just recently passed their recreational marijuana use law. So you're allowed to grow up, I believe, to 12 marijuana plants in your residency now, and carry up to I think it's 2.5 ounces or something like that legally. Morris Murray, he's pretty adamant and upset about that whole situation because we know that trickles down from Michigan. And kids are confused enough already in Ohio on what to do, what not to do. And it's just another issue that we're going to deal with as communities and schools because of our neighbors.
It's legal in some counties in Ohio.
Yes, but it's tough. So anyway, those are two major topics we've been dealing with the Georgia Free Coalition. I want to thank Mrs. Leone and her health and safe foods class. They prepare a Thanksgiving dinner every year. I know we have current staff, students, and of course retired staff that come in, pay $6 for the meal. It's always great. So we definitely appreciate the time and effort into the preparation and cooking of that meal. On Friday, December 7th, our high school sophomores took a visit to Fort County Career Center. Monday, December 3rd through Friday, December 14th, our Hicksville seniors are completing end-of-course retesting requirements. Some of our students have not reached that 18 points, which is the minimum requirement to graduate high school. And so they are retaking tests to hopefully reach those subcategory statuses and of course the overall status of 18 points. I will say this, House Bill 491, which is a temporary House bill, I believe it's gone through the House and now they're waiting for the Senate to sign it, and it should be maybe ready to pass. They say it won't take effect until March of 2019, but it pretty much comes down to this again. The state's realizing about 35% of all seniors won't graduate again this year because they're not meeting the end of course point totals that are required. They waited till the last minute again to kind of get some statistics on where seniors in the state of Ohio stood. They realized that it's not good. So again, the Band-Aid effect, they're gonna put this on for another, I think, 2 years actually. For the class of 2019, I think potentially the class of 2020. And again, the alternate pathways come into effect here. That's pretty much two items. Number one, when you think of Fort County Career Center and some of the I guess the work keys programs, things like that, the certifications that they have, that's an alternate pathway. If you can't reach those 18 points, but you can be credentialed in welding, you're able to graduate. There's also some background information like IEP students who have an IEP, let's say in math, and they take the math test multiple times. The first time they take it, it counts against the school. The second time they have to retake it. It's not to count against the school, but it's just to say, hey, I put in my best effort. I took it a second time. They automatically get a minimum score of 3, which helps bump them to that subcategory, and of course the overall category of 18 points so that they're eligible to graduate. So that's kind of what's going on there. But again, that just went through, I believe, last week, and it actually won't be taking effect until March. But that'll, again, help this class. Future events, of course, we already hit on the concert at the Huber on December 14th. Real Money, Real World will be here on Monday, December 17th. I'll thank in advance all of our community business women and men for coming in and volunteering their time with that program. On Monday, December 17th in the evening, we will be hosting Stryker for a girls basketball game, and the Defiance County Special Olympics team from Williams County and Defiance County will be playing between games. Awesome event. It's a great time. I highly advise we pack the stands because it's definitely for a great cause. It's fun. The kids all love it, so we're looking forward to that night. That is on Monday, December 17th,
Okay.
and we will be hosting Stryker. And then of course, Christmas break, we think of the Route 49 Classic. I have dates here for the girls varsity, which will be hosted at Antwerp for the 20th and 21st of December. And then of course, the girls and boys JV Route 49 Classic tournaments will be hosted both at Edgerton, and those are during the day on December 27th and 28th. And then of course, the boys varsity is also at Edgerton, and that will be in the evenings of the 27th and 28th. So good luck to all of our teams as they compete for the Route 49 Classic Championships. Mr. Hunter already covered Christmas break. He hit on the data dive, and I just want to add to the fact that, you know, Josh Clark, the ESC, former principal, high school principal at Evergreen, he's really leading the charge on that, getting us, I guess, a better understanding of where our teachers can, I guess, create more opportunities for us to advance in our safe testing for individual students and subgroups. So we're looking forward to the information Mr. Clark is going to provide, and what we're going to do is, for example, you know, the high school math department will come in, they'll take the day off, we'll bring in subs to cover them, and they're going to spend an entire day focusing strictly on the data and the opportunities that are there, the value-added information, and of course assessment scores, you know, and kind of, you know, what our kids are doing, whether they're passing them and how well they're doing on those tests. And then of course, then we'll move to another department, bring in subs, and they spend the entire day with them. And we've got it broken up between middle school and high school because we don't want a large grade band to have to cover. We want to be able to focus strictly on the content and the information they need to help their students. And then of course, he already covered the second quarter grading period ending on January 11th.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Denny, do you have a Fort County career report today?
We did not, we haven't had our December meeting yet.
Okay, thanks.
Since November. Thanks.
Okay, Keith, superintendent's report.
Yep. The ESC serves as the main contact for most districts in the Fort County area in regards to the Business Advisory Council. Remember, we joined that consortium, so to speak, when was that, last summer? I think we did that. Time goes so fast. I believe it was last summer because we've had we had our second meeting here just the other day, and they're quarterly meetings. And the Business Advisory Council had sent a survey out to all of us to complete prior to our meeting. The survey prioritized the main objectives of the council and what areas that they wanted to focus on. And just to list the top two, the number one item was to foster collaboration between the council among businesses, labor, and education personnel. The second was to publicize and communicate local economy and job information. And this would include activities designed to inform students, educators, and the community about changes to the local economy and which jobs will be most in demand. There were other identified areas, however, we just focusing on the first two for now. Last week I submitted a grant to the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. They have a couple grants available this year. This is a 3-to-1 match, and it can be used for security updates. There were several items you could choose from to use the money for if you were awarded the grant. And with the work that Justin is doing in putting in the metal detector here at the high school entrance, this grant, if we were to get it, would cover approximately 75% of the cost of two other ones, which could go at the elementary entrance and the main event entrance. And we went, what Justin's trying to get approved right now is, which is why it's probably not going to be installed over Christmas break, is because we think we can get it so that it is spaced between the two doors, and we only need one unit at each entrance coming in. All the entrances, of course, you can get out, but we would just use one entrance in the morning at each of the three entrances, and it goes down, I think, to 48 inches or 40 inches, I believe. So we have to get approval from the state on that. It was approved already, but with this minor adjustment here, he has to get it reapproved. So that, and then he's also working on the technology piece. He doesn't have that fine-tuned quite yet. So I said, as opposed to putting it in and it not being ready, let's just wait till it's in and we do it right. And then I started working on another grant today as well, also offered through the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. This is for $20,000, and it's for sensory equipment for special ed. So I know that special ed teachers, in particular, Mrs. Smith has talked to me before about purchasing different types of sensory equipment. And Shelley often gets a lot of these kids who they just need to have that sensory break at a certain point during the day. Otherwise, they're gonna have that major meltdown, and which leads to issues. And so she'll grab these kids and take them out and do different things with them. If we were able to get this grant, and could purchase some sensory equipment that they could utilize then with those kids, which would be a good plus for them. So we'll see. I'm gonna work with Mrs. Smith on Wednesday and see what we can come up with as far as equipment. And I'll submit that grant as well. Hopefully I'll get that. And I think the reason is because the Bureau has too much money, so they're giving some back, which is a good thing. So hopefully that's looks favorable for the schools, and the grant's fairly easy to do, so we'll see what happens. So keep you posted. That's all I have.
They're also very time consuming, thank you.
Well, no problem.
Grants are, yes. Okay, moving on. Anyone have any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Steph? And Jen seconded, thank you. Roll call, please.
Carrier? Yes. Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer?
Yes.
And Wonderly?
Yes.
Motion carried, 5-0. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes and the financials?
I'll second.
Okay, Jared and Craig, thank you. All right, the minutes from the regular board meeting on November 19th, 2018, and minutes from the work sessions on November 19th, November 28th, and December 5th, 2018. The treasurer's report, cash reconciliation as of November 2018, and the financial statements for November 2018. Accept the following donation, $100 from Nathan Farrell for STEM or STEAM?
Well, this is STEM.
Okay, so it's two
Sometimes
separate
it's called
things.
STEAM.
Okay.
It's the same program.
Okay.
It'll be STEM or STEAM.
$100 from Nathan Farrell for STEM. Okay. Discussion, Melissa, you wanna do the treasures?
Basically the cafeteria is, still continuing to do fairly well. I mean, it's kind of going in the right direction. I think as soon as the end of December is over, and we do have a retirement where we won't have payroll or benefits coming out, those numbers will start to really, I think, take effect, and I think we'll see things going more in a more positive result. Yeah, it'll be much faster. I'm hoping to have resolution language from Pam Heist at the next board meeting. We also have a policy for the credit card policy that I believe you all have seen. I'll probably put that on the next agenda for the next meeting so that it's approved by February 2nd. I did attach a
Okay,
notice.
so wait a second, there was one in the policy thing that we did today. There was a credit card one also, that was more generic maybe, but this is something special, it has to come from somewhere else.
This was like part of the House bill.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, part of the House bill that was kind of coming down the pipeline that we had to maybe amend the language, so I didn't think about that. But, I did attach then a notice of annexation of real estate. I'm not sure if all of you had taken a look at that. It was more information than, I mean, there's no board approval or anything on that. In regards to the pie graphs that I normally give you guys, basically everything is pretty much stayed the same, except for there was a third pay in the month of November, so there were some expenses that were a little higher than what they had been previously, but everything else has pretty much stayed relatively normal. So, other than the things that I've highlighted in the past, so other than that, I don't have anything if you have any questions.
Okay, I should have asked you this before, but on page 26, in the actual November column, okay, like 2.07, total other financing sources, it's 0, but last month it was estimated there'd be $58,000 there.
Where are you at?
Okay, sorry, page 26. Go down to 2.07.
Okay.
Total other financing sources. If you come over to actual in November, it was 0. But last month, we anticipated there'd be $58,000 there. Do you know what that would have been? Sorry, I should have called you, but I didn't find it until like 5 o'clock.
No, I don't. I'd have to look. I'd have to do some digging.
Okay.
Trying to think what that would be. Yes, I do think I know. I think it may have been, monies that would come back from Medicaid.
Okay. Okay.
Because we did get basically an award for, not an award, but money is coming back from the audit for, they had kept too much of our money. So I'm pretty sure that's what that was.
Okay.
We just haven't received the actual monies yet.
You know,
I wanna say it was like that 58,000.
Okay.
Here's that policy that I was wondering if maybe this is what you were talking about. This is the one that we're gonna approve here later. We'll check it out and
Okay.
see, maybe this is gonna take care of.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, any other questions on treasurer's report, financials? Okay, roll call please.
Carrier? Yes. Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer?
Yes.
Wonderly?
Motion carried, 5-0. Thanks, Melissa. I need a motion to approve the employment of certified staff. Jen. Okay, Jen and then Steph. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2018-19 school year. Mackenzie Coleman, Project More Advisor, 25%. Joy Geiger, Foreign Language Club Advisor. Elaine Gherkin, Drama Club Advisor and High School Musical Director. Zach Kohlmeyer, Extra Band, Pep Band during the winter. Kathy Laney, Academic Team Advisor, High School Yearbook Advisor, Newspaper Advisor, and Science Fair Advisor. Jay Mast, Project More Advisor, 50%. Don Perna, Assistant Archery Coach. Joey Stevenson, Art Club Advisor. Amanda Willitzer, Project More Advisor, 25%. Recommend to approve the following as a volunteer for the 2018-19 school year. Jamie Altman for indoor track. Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Carrier? Yes. Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer? And Wonderly?
Motion carried, 5-0. I need a motion for the employment of classified staff. Thanks, Craig and Jared. Recommend to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2018-19 school year. Jennifer Bergman, High School Musical Director Assistant. Pam Slattery, Elementary Yearbook Advisor. Recommend to approve the following as volunteers for the 2018-19 school year. Corey Johnsonbaugh, Matinee Advisor. Pam Payne, Indoor Track. Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Carrier? Yes. Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer?
Yes.
And Wonderly?
yes.
Motion carried, 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the other business? Jared, Jen, thanks. Recommend to approve the following new or revised Board of Education bylaws. 131, legislative. 141.2, conflict of interest. 164, notice of meetings. 165.1, regular meetings. 165.2, special meetings. 165.3, recess and adjournment. 166, executive session. 168, minutes. 169.1, public participation at board meetings. 1240.01.01, non-reemployment of the superintendent. 1422, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity. 1541, termination and resignation. 1662, anti-harassment. 2111, parent and family engagement. 2260, non-discrimination and access to equal educational opportunity. 2261, Title I services. 2261.01, parent and family member participation in Title I programs. 2261.03, district and school report card. 3122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity. 3140, termination and resignation. 3362, anti-harassment. 4122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity. 4140, termination and resignation. 4162, drug and alcohol testing of CDL license holders and other employees who perform safety-sensitive functions. 4362 and 5517, anti-harassment. 5610, removal, suspension, expulsion, and permanent exclusion of students. 5610.02, in-school discipline. 5610.03, emergency removal of students. 5611, due process rights. 6325, procurement of federal grants and funds. 6423, use of credit cards. 8141, mandatory reporting of misconduct by licensed employees. Any discussion?
Some of these are are the same. They're identical and they apply to each area. Like for example, the 1,000 ones are for administration, 2,000, and 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 are for like classified help, certified help, and students. So it might be the same policy, but you put it in under each category.
When I looked at it though, like the drafts had the new language in green and the red language was taken out.
Correct.
There was nothing on that, report card.
There was one that was new.
It was a new.
Yeah.
Is
Is that
the
what
new
it
one?
was? Okay, so that was all new, okay.
I noticed that too. Looking
Some
for it.
just had a minor little number change,
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of.
And a bunch had that
sometimes.
piece added at the bottom. Okay, the
And
only one,
and you
oh, go ahead,
fixed
go
the-
ahead,
He did already fix that, yes.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I noticed on the, public participation board meeting that we need that, saying on our agenda. There's a very specific saying that we have to have on our agenda.
Okay.
I caught
Under
that.
public participation at board meetings,
I read that one.
just an FYI.
Okay, I'll check that.
Start putting it on there so nobody ever reads it.
Right.
Okay. And I had a question on 5610. The only thing the main thing I saw added, Jeff, was that it was, the student shall be permitted to complete any assignments. But it didn't say, I thought when you talked about that a month or so ago, that it was gonna have to be turned in on the day that they came back to school.
Yeah, it should state that, students will receive 100% credit up until the point of the day of the return. Then after that, they'll receive 0%.
It doesn't say that.
Okay.
It just says it shall be permitted, the student shall be permitted to complete any assignments,
Right.
period. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was exactly like you wanted it.
Well, this is what Neola's
This is what
recommending.
Neola's recommending. You can,
But-
can do it in addition.
The state's requiring that, that's the basic statement
Right.
the state requires, but our local rule,
You can do more.
we actually state exactly what we want.
Okay.
But it still needs to be in.
This is the minimum, or not minimum, but
So would his come through more like the student handbook type?
Like, where would,
Yeah.
The
but
guidelines be
typically-
written,
yeah.
I guess, is the difference.
it's
Okay.
more or less for the credit of someone that was suspended, right, Jeff? I mean, you're gonna give them the credit for it, which is
Yeah.
what we do wanna do.
Okay, so when a student is suspended, expelled, whatever, do they, besides just saying to them, if you do this work, do they get something written that says,
It's on
these are the rules of?
It's on the
All right.
suspension document that the parent receives.
All right.
It states right on there, exactly what I said, they will receive 100% credit for all work completed up to the day of return. Anything turned in after that, they'll receive no credit. Now, we're also smart, if the teacher forgets to send something out or, those minor things, we'll make sure we do what's right for the kid.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's on the document we
Where it's
received.
written and what policy
Yeah.
versus the board policies or the handbook
Yeah.
or on the document that's given, and
Yeah.
there's different areas that we can have it documented.
Thanks, everybody, for reading. That was good. Such interesting reading, wasn't it? Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? It's a necessary evil. That's one of our main jobs, you guys.
It
to
really
do
is,
policy.
and that's what I thought when I was
That's right.
reading through this, I'm like, gotta be kidding me. That's what we're here for, that's.
I appreciate the changes highlighted.
Oh, I'll say,
Yeah.
I'll say. Okay, any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Carrier?
Yes.
Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer? And Wonderly?
Motion carried 5-0. Okay, we need to talk about our organizational meeting. Our regular date would be the second Monday, January 14th. Do we want to keep that as our meeting date next year?
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 o'clock still? Okay, so the organizational meeting, do we meet earlier or do we meet still at 6 o'clock and then just have the meeting afterwards?
I think we need to do the organizational beforehand, so we can elect who the new president's gonna be.
So like
however-
5:55?
It's only takes-
5:50.
Is that what it is, like 5:50?
Yeah.
Okay, what?
Would it be back at 6? I don't know if well, if you're not here,
Okay.
we might elect you. Oh, that would be a change.
Can we say just 6 o'clock then?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
and then we'll have our regular meeting afterwards.
No problem.
Okay. And then you have to appoint somebody to be president pro tem, but, okay. So I,
I nominate Mindy Jones to be the board president. Pro tem.
do we have to, I don't know how that, I mean, I don't know where the motion and the vote, I mean, I don't know how much order I guess to do this.
I just know we've done
I
that in
haven't
the
done
past,
this.
because we've taken
Okay,
a
so,
nomination.
No, but
okay, so I need a motion to approve the organization.
to go into it first.
Yeah, I'll move to do that.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, so Jared is for us to go into the organizational meeting details.
just the
Okay.
details.
Full topic.
So now-
Discuss this. Yeah.
And who seconded?
I did.
Jen. Jared and Jen. Okay, so now we have to do that.
What day?
January 14th, we said we'll stay at 6 o'clock, and we'll do the regular after that.
Correct, appoint and
So
amend that
Craig
as
would-
the president pro tem.
Okay, do we have to vote on?
Yeah.
Does somebody have to second that?
Jared second.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Any opposition?
No.
That's a good way. Okay, roll call, please.
Carrier.
Yes.
Iden. Jones.
I think I abstained.
Mazer.
Yes.
And Wonderly.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carried 4-0 with 1 abstention. I don't mind doing it, it's okay. I've learned a lot the first year, not enough to be able to get through the organizational meeting part apparently, but, okay, any old business? Okay, the only thing I wondered about was, we talked about a couple times about a policy stating that any person doing student monitoring could not be hired until the pupil activity permit is done. Did we decide, are we doing a policy about that, or what are we doing?
I have to
Flow chart?
approve all of it, so I have a chart before I issue anybody's approval, it has to be approved by me. And I have to check it with the ODE on the website itself.
Okay, so
So
when
I don't know
somebody
if we need
comes.
a policy of that, but everybody in the district gets approved by me. So if I have one come to me, a request for a pupil activity permit, I'm gonna get on final forms and review that they have completed all the training. There's 5 things that they have to complete, and I have that list up in my office. One of them only has to complete it 1 time in their history, so potentially it could just be 4 things that they have to complete. If they've completed those 4, then I can approve them, and it goes on. So the buck rests with me, so to speak.
So they'll receive a document that states everything they're gonna have. Like, yeah, that was the concern, right, making sure when they get hired.
The person receives some piece of paper that says you cannot be approved, hired and approved by the board until you have completed. And we wondered if they would get a piece of paper that would say all of that, and they'd have to sign and we'd have it dated, that was our kind of.
Well, they'd get a paper, but if you want, but they're gonna get a phone call. Bottom line is, they're not gonna get approved till they complete those classes. So Robin or Anita will be calling them, probably Robin or Anita, and saying you need to complete this class or this class. Once it's completed, I can go in and I can verify that it's completed, and then issue the pupil activity permit. And interestingly enough, because I called this week, it used to be, I don't know, about 6 years ago or 7, maybe not even that long, that ODE approved all of them. So when it did come to me, all I had to do was approve it, because it would never come to me unless they'd completed all the work. It's not like that anymore. Now, I have to check it. Or somebody, but since it rests on me and I could get in trouble, I'm gonna check every one myself or I'm not approving it.
So my copy comes through Brian's Hicksville, I would just have to send you a digital copy if I decided to do something next year, right? Just a digital copy of the one that I have from, approved from the other.
You mean like your pupil
school.
activity
Right.
permit?
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
just a digital copy.
So if we make a small tweak to that process, and instead of Anita or Robin calling them, we just make it an email only, so that way we have documentation.
Sure.
I mean, that's
Or both.
simple, easy, in there, no, it's always there.
I think that email, like the original email will have a list of what they have to do. That way they verify they have it.
Right, yeah.
And again, depending on what they're doing, will depend on what they have to have completed. And I know what we're gonna run into each year with our coaches is that different items fall off at different times. That's what we have to be careful of. And luckily Final Forms tracks that, sends out a 90-day, a 60-day, and a 30-day automated message and email.
So how does that work? Because that doesn't come to me then through
Because
ODE.
That's after they've already been uploaded, registered, everything's in. So like, let's imagine we hire, like our basketball coaches, they're all hired now. Everything's updated. But Tony Tier's sudden cardiac arrest could fall off in the next 87 days. He received a generated email at 90 days, and then he'll receive another one in 60 days by Final Forms, then he'll receive another one in 30 days. And then at any point, it's just easy as clicking a button. I can say who has something coming up within the next 60 days. I click a button, and every single staff member in our district, it'll pop up, and all you gotta do is hit send email, and it'll send an email to all of those people. So it's actually a pretty easy process. The hard part is getting them in the first time. Because, like we said, there's a financial burden on our volunteers or our coaches that are being paid. And the background checks, the FBI, BCI, the pupil activity permit, you have to, and the thing is, Mr. Countryman will get that notification about a pupil activity permit. He has to approve that before anyone else can even move on to do the other requirements. And that's, right?
No.
That's what I was told by
No,
Mr. Paul.
they can go out and do 4 of them. There's 5 things that you have to complete, but 4 of them, they're able to go online, they can attend a class.
CPR, concussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can complete all of those prior to even applying for the pupil activity permit, they just need to give their certifications. But once they can't complete that 5th one until he approves it. ODE has obviously sent it to him and he's given approval. Then that opens up, I think, the Lindsay's Law concussion, or it opens up something else. So they can complete all the rest of the pieces prior to having a pupil activity permit. Then they just bring into us their certifications and they're downloaded into Final Forms.
Yeah, I've just been doing all of that.
Yes.
For coaches and stuff. So then all I have to do is go into Final Forms and verify it's green or red.
And on all honesty, every year now with the kids, I went to Fort County for an entire day and called on every Fort County kid and sat down and walked through to make sure that their parents did everything, to make sure they did everything, collecting information for them. So like all our parents every year in Final Forms, now they have to do is, if they're not a new student, they have to go in and verify, but they still have to sign off. And that's the process where Tara Welling's calling, or Pam Slattery's calling, saying, hey, parents, get on here, or I have to call, or we're calling kids and parents, and we're sitting down with a lot of parents that unfortunately they do not have computers or they are not very tech savvy, and we're sitting down and we're still collecting information. Now, I will say this, I have two kids left in the entire high school. That's it, and they'll be 100% at the high school level, they'll be completely registered, which again is a much better process. And the same thing, going into next year, we'll start the process all over again. They'll go out, they'll all go, let's say, red. As the parents approve things, they turn yellow, and as the kids go in and sign off on them, everything turns green, we're all good. So there is a lot of follow-up, but again, it's that paper trail we have to have.
Okay. All right, any other discussion or other business?
Mike Mazur's locked out of the building, just, FYI.
Oh.
Maybe Charlie's coming in from.
I don't know, but he's out there, so, but I think we're about done with it.
Chad, are you going down?
Yeah.
Let him, thank you so much. Okay, are there any guests who would like to address the
These are
board?
unlocked later, Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, he just came to the wrong.
Came in the wrong door.
Anybody else? Okay, we do not have an executive session, correct? All right,
There's my headline.
yeah, there it is. Do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
I'll move.
Craig? Jen seconded. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting until the next board meeting to be held January 14th, 2019 at 6 o'clock PM. And that'll be the organizational meeting with the regular board meeting to follow. Roll call, please.
Carrier? Yes. Iden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Mazer?
Yes.
And Wonderly?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried 5-0. This meeting is adjourned.